I'm Joby Fisher, welcome to my channel where I'm going to be having a look at the highest scoring game to ever take place in the Six Nations, which was between England and Italy in 2001. The 2023 Six Nations Championship is currently underway, and with round 2 this weekend, we see England face Italy at Twickenham. Round 1 of the Six Nations saw Scotland beat England at Twickenham 29-22, and I'm sure we all remember seeing Duhan van der Merwe's incredible solo try.
No huddles before line-outs, quick sets at scrum time. Shot clocks for Holidays are conversions. This time, go Scotland! Footwork from Duhan van der Merwe! This is astonishing! That is a mic drop moment!
Over in Italy, they came very close to beating the French, the current Grand Slam champions, all but within one try. Leading to the question, does England have what it takes to keep up their unbeaten record against Italy, even at home with Italy and the wind beneath their sails? It looks a strong possibility that they might get their first ever win against England. So I thought it would be a good idea to go back and have a quick look at the history of games between England and Italy. Now, they played their first ever game in the pool stage of the 1991 Rugby World Cup, where England won 36-6. The teams would go on to face each other in a further 28 more tests, including 3 more games at a Rugby World Cup and 1 Rugby World Cup qualifier. Now, I did find one other non-test match before the first ever test was played in 1986. Now, as I said, this was a non-test and not an official result. It was between an England 15 against Italy, in which the teams drew 15-all. And this would actually go down as Italy's best ever result against England, but as I said, it's not the official England first team. In fact, I could only find evidence of an under-16s England team that travelled to Italy in 1986.
Della gamba destra, riprende il gioco, Meneghetti subito bloccato, c'è un brutto fallo al collo, il placcaggio di Pearson, Mazzi che apre Zanutti, bellissima l'azione alla mano Di Carlo si incuna, Abibaio viene saltato, calcio a seguire del 14 Zanetti, la formazione azzurra, Di Carlo bloccata ancora la palla ed è meta ancora degli azzurri. Stupenda questa azione, ancora una volta scaturita da un attacco.
As we know, Italy joined the Five Nations Championship to make it the Six Nations in the year 2000. Of course, setting up England and Italy to play each other every year since then. The latest result between the two teams was last year in 2022, where England beat Italy 33-0 in Rome. On the 17th of February 2001, England hosted Italy at Twickenham in front of a crowd of 75,000. The team that England put out could be seen as quite a star-studded one. In the early days of the Six Nations, teams didn't put out what would be seen as a weaker team against Italy. They went whole hog, showed them the respect that they deserved, and often put heavy scores on them. The years approaching 2003 World Cup could be seen as the golden years for England. Their highest ever win percentage from 88% in 2000 right up to a 94% win rate in 2003 when they won the World Cup. Right down the middle, 2001 was a 90% win rate. Italy certainly had their odds stacked against them.
Round 2 of the championship then, and it's the two ends of the bookmakers' spectrum who come together at Twickenham, and it's Italy, the underdog, to kick us off.
But that's not to say that Italy hadn't played particularly well in the lead up to that. They'd certainly earned their place in the Six Nations with regular wins over the likes of Romania and Georgia in the second tier competition. Up until the year 2000, Italy had also proven themselves against tier 1 teams, the likes of France, where they managed to get a couple of wins in the 90s, a fair few wins against Ireland and Scotland in the 80s and the 90s as well. In fact, Italy had beaten every Five Nations team on the approach to entering and making it the Six Nations. They've also got notable wins against Argentina, one of which at a World Cup, and more recently they beat South Africa in 2016 and for the first time Australia in 2022.
I mean, it's free, it's loose, it's highly entertaining. Nice from Italy, putting it through there, Giovanni. His numbers out there, Capuzzo. Oh, it's a dummy! That's Capuzzo! What a score from Italy!
In 1999 at the World Cup, they did lose all of their games, including the game to New Zealand, which was the third time that they played them at a World Cup. Italy have been knocked out at the pool stage of every World Cup they've played in, but some of which they have won the occasional game and finished third in a couple of pools. In terms of the lead up to 2001, Italy had only won one Six Nations game, and that was against Scotland. They wouldn't go on to win their next Six Nations game until 2003 against Wales. So as I said, there's a reason that I wanted to go back and review this game.
Bergamasco, hit by Wilkinson.
It was the highest points total for any Six Nations game ever. That includes the Five Nations and the Four Nations, the home nations before that. So hopefully it gives England fans something to hold on to going into the game against Italy at the weekend.
Tackle, just a tackle.
And the score was 80 to England, 23 to Italy. 80 being the highest score ever totaled by a single team in a game. 103, the highest total score of a match between two teams. For Italy, 23 is still the highest away score that they have ever managed against another team in the Six Nations. This game saw 12 tries scored, equaling the most ever in a Six or Five Nations game. There were 7 try scorers for England. They were Ian Bolshaw with 2, Ben Cohen, Greenwood, Healy with 2, Regan, Johnny Wilkinson and Joe Worsley. The 2 Italian tries came from Cecchinato and Dallon. Both tries were converted by Scanavaca, who also scored 3 penalties. Now there were quite a number of records in this game, including the highest points total by an individual player. That was by Johnny Wilkinson. As I mentioned, he got 1 try. He also got 9 conversions and 4 penalties, giving him the highest total of 35 points ever scored in a 5 or 6 Nations game by an individual player. Went on to set another record for the highest points total across any given tournament, a record that he still holds with 89 points. Will Greenwood went on to score 6 tries that year, the most amount of tries for that championship. So where does that leave us now? Of course, as I mentioned, looking forward to this game at the weekend. Hopefully, looking back at 2001 gives England fans something to be hopeful about. On the other hand, maybe it also fuels the Italian team. Looking back at historic losses, being judged as they are as the worst team in the Six Nations, and often having the discussion around, should there be a promotion and relegation to the Six Nations Championship? Should we involve Romania? Should we swap Italy for Romania and Georgia? Of course, it's not that easy. The Six Nations is a franchise, so Italian rugby have a stake in the championship as well. But nevertheless, it's a very interesting conversation to have. As I've mentioned, Italy have been on a good run of form over the last year. They beat Wales in the last game of their Six Nations last year in 2022. They've also come off the back of a win, their first ever win against Australia, and run France very close within a try this year. With 2023 underway and a World Cup on the horizon, what are we expecting from Italy? Can they make it out of their group? Well, history goes to show that it's very unlikely. They've still got quite a tough group. England, however, have the weight of the country on their shoulders. England expects the team to make it out of their group, not only to make it to the finals, but to make it to the semis and the final, and hopefully go on to win the Webb Ellis Trophy itself. So tell me, what do you make of it? What do you think of Italy's chances against England? Are they going to end this defeated streak of 29 tests? Can England keep up their unbeaten run against Italy? A 100% win record against Italy. Unlike any of the other teams in the Six Nations, England are the only ones to keep up this unbeaten run and 100% win rate against Italy. Something that I'm sure the Italians want to overturn. Let us know your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe. See you in the next one.